Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another weekly update. Hope everybody's having a lovely day, and with that being said, get into the TA. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to point out is that we have a bullish engulfing candlestick on SPY, QQQ, IWM, and DIA. What do we also have on the other hand? We have VIX with a bearish engulfing candlestick. So I'm just going to point out the last time we had bullish engulfing candlesticks on all of these was 2 weeks ago. What happened the following week? We had a week of consolidation here where you actually did see a dip over here on SPY of just about 1%. Over here on QQQ, you saw a dip from that close just about 1%. I personally do think we're going to get a larger pullback than that, and I'm going to go over in this video why I do think that is going to be the case. It doesn't have to be the case, but this is what I'm seeing on the charts, and that is what we will be covering in this video. All right, so I want to point out that all of this was done on increasing volume here. So you have high volume on all of these, which is something that supports this candlestick formation. And I also want to point out this week, confirm this bullish engulfing candlestick on all of them. Every single one of these got confirmed this week by closing above the close of this candlestick over here. So I do personally think we are going to see this dip get eaten up. I'm going to point out in this video of where I think we are going to be dipping down to on SPY and QQQ. And that, in my opinion, is going to be the buy the dip opportunity for the next supply zone over here on SPY and QQQ. Now let's turn that on. Actually, no, turn that off. All right, come over here to QQQ. I want to point out we closed out the day with a shooting star candlestick off of increasing volume, and then we're going to turn this bad boy on right there. Bad boy, BB, Bollinger Band, call them the bad boys. You had your second daily close above the upper Bollinger Band on the daily time frame, which is just something that doesn't typically happen. Now I'm going to turn that on, and I'm going to point out we have several occurrences here over the last few months. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, which we'll just include these. All right, we'll include these as one. All right, so we had 11 out of 11 occurrences bring these pullbacks. We are now getting 2 closes above the upper Bollinger Band, and we actually had 2 opens and closes above the upper Bollinger Band. So I do think you're going to get a rather decent pullback. I think it's very likely that we are going to be seeing something like this, either coming back to the breakout point and reversing off of it, and it would look something like that, or we would come all the way down here to the gap fill, and then we would be reversing off it and maybe have a shot at going up the next supply zone at 390, which let me just come over here and show you where that is. Let's take off the Bollinger Bands right there. All right, that is where sellers held the line after selling off there, came back up, shoved the buyers back down. All right, so I do think it is very likely that this bullish trend here, this uptrend we have going on, I think it's likely to continue. There's no guaranteeing that is going to continue, but we do have a rather aggressive uptrend here, and we're going to have to see what happens when price comes back here. I personally do think price is going to be bouncing here, at least coming back to test this high for either a double top or coming back up to it. But again, I have no way of knowing these things until we see it happen. We have to see what happens when price comes back up. If it tests it, all right, maybe we get something like this where you bounce off it, you get a lower high, and you come down and you break that. Guess what, guys? If we come down here, that's going to put in a higher low. But then if you come back down here, if you come up for the lower high, and then you come down and break that, then that is going to literally just change the trend. So before that happens, say we were to fall all the way down here on this decline and break it. Let's say we get something like that, and we come back up for a retest of this zone right here, which was our previous supply zone. Now it should be demand. We're going to have to see how that plays out. But I have to assume buy orders are going to be down there now that we did end up breaking up, and that's just how we're going to go about things. We do these daily updates strictly so we could take it as we go, and then we have the weekly update to cover what we are going to be watching out for the following week. And this is exactly what I'm going to be watching out for the following week. I'm going to be looking at something like this. All right, and it doesn't have to continue this uptrend, but I think we have a rather aggressive uptrend here. And I want to point out, this isn't strong resistance we have here. It's not structure that was left behind. Price is literally, you know, it was structure, and then price came back and filled that structure right here. So it's not strong. What's unfilled is right here. This the supply zone. Sell orders pushed it down over there. I have to assume sell orders are going to be up there if we come up here and test it. 389 to 390. That is what you were watching on the upside. Say all this goes out the window. We don't get any sort of pullback and we just go straight up. That's the level you're going to be watching. You're watching this. Price is not going to look like that if that happens. It's probably just going to straight up shoot up. And then you'd probably get a sick, nasty sell-off if that was going to become the case. But I'm actually going to point out, guys, we are getting pretty close to all-time highs. If we just delete that arrow right there, we're going to come to the top of that candlestick. Guys, we are 7% off the highs over here on QQ, and we are 6% off of the highs on SPY, which is kind of crazy. That is insane in the membrane. Now, I am going to point out before we take this off the chart, price did come up. You missed the 0.786 Fibonacci retracement, all-time high to the October low by just about 30 cents there. 40 cents, we'll call it. I'm just letting you guys know this is going to be a macro Fibonacci right here, and in reality there's probably a lot of sell orders that are sitting right around here. This is something that, you know, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy if a lot of people are going to be watching it, and Fibonacci retracements are going to be honestly but aside from, you know, support, resistance, supply and demand, that's going to be the number one indicator that people are going to be watching. So yeah, I did not doubt that there would be sell orders there. As you see, price could not hold this supply zone, so we still have sell orders sitting up here. If you come down and break through that, that is when you open the door up for this. Let's take it down to the hourly time frame, and I'll point out buyers did start stepping in at the end of the day at the bottom of this zone here, trying to hold it. If they can't hold it, if we break down underneath 448.60, we'll call it. If you come and have we'll just call it a 30-minute close underneath there, then I will be looking for prices test 447.45, which is the bottom of this candlestick right here. And then if price does end up breaking through that and get some closes under there, 15 and 30-minute closes are what I like to look for, then we will be looking all the way down here at 445.15. And if price does end up again closing under there, which again, I think there's a strong probability that this is going to be how things play out this week. We do have sort of a wedge formation actually right here. I will point that out right now. All right, which speaking of wedges, we got to talk about some wedges on the daily time frame that someone pointed out to me. Thank you, Cap. But yeah, if you do end up breaking through that, you're going here. All right, you break through that. All right, I have to assume you're going to revisit the breakout point of 444. And once price does get down there, I do believe the gap fills will act as magnets here on SPY and QQQ. The gap is at 442.97 right here, and then over on QQQ, let's watch what we are going to be looking for there. All right, now that we have break it down underneath this resistance here, which again, it's not a strong resistance, but we'll point out it's 379.57, and you know, you did end up closing at, or you open at 379.59, so that was a thing. You know, so price is likely respecting this, in my opinion, weak resistance. It's not, you know, it's weak resistance. But you did have the shooting star with increasing volume, so I have to assume that, yeah, you're likely about to see a reversal. All right, if you see a candlestick close underneath this candlestick, then that confirms this reversal candlestick. We likely get another day or two of downside. That is how these things play out. All right, you need the confirmation for these candlesticks, just like I pointed out on the weekly time frame. This bullish engulfing candlestick confirmed this previous bullish engulfing candlestick. So I have to assume the dip will be bought up. We do have, you know, we have an aggressive uptrend going on here. And until price proves me otherwise, yeah, that is going to be how I look at the charts. That will be that. But yeah, here on QQQ, if you break down under here, I have to assume you're going to test 373. And once price is down there, just like I just pointed out over on SPY, I do have to assume this gap is going to act as a price magnet, and we're probably going to fill that. And I think we are going to get a decent sized bounce because of what I pointed out in this video about this aggressive uptrend and those bullish engulfing candlesticks confirming the previous bullish engulfing candlesticks. And then yeah, we get a weekly close above these, and we have confirmation that we're likely going higher. And where is the next higher? It's all the way up here at 389 to 390, which again, that's like, you know, I think that's 18 bucks off of all-time highs. Going back all the way over here. All right, and yeah, I can't see it right there, but I think you got up to 408. So crazy stuff we're witnessing, guys. Absolutely crazy. And I'm just gonna say, if you do break all-time highs, that does confirm bear market is over. That is literally the official, you know, that's the official end. Nobody can argue with that one. All right, it's literally you surpass the previous high, all-time high on these indices, and that is how you determine a bear market is over. It's not the whole, at least how I see it, it's not the whole 20% rule. People have been throwing out this, oh, you had a 20% rally, you're out of the bear market. You had a 20% decline, you were in a bear market. No, all right, unless you could surpass these highs just like we did over here in COVID, right here, all right, this is when price came back tested that, and you literally ended up going off the races from there. That was the end of your bear market right here. All right, and look at that. Price literally broke out, came back and retested twice, and then you were off the races. And let's just do that. I understand, all right, so much money was printed there, but I am going to point out, why are they going to let this thing crash now? I don't know. All right, if you do end up coming up to all-time highs, we have to assume that, hey, this is something that hasn't happened throughout any of history. None of these bear markets have had this happen if you're going to go lower. So that is going to throw a huge monkey wrench into the bear case, in the bear camp. So that is just something I'll point out, but I don't really want to speculate here on this channel. So let's just pretend we didn't even talk about that. Let's just carry on talking about price. All right, the last thing I will point out is IWM. So just because, you know, maybe there's some IWM traders out there. So IWM did end up breaking out of its previous range, which I actually took it off just because it's not so relevant now that we have another zone to be watching up here. All right, but you had this range all the way down here. I guess we'd call it right there. All right, bottom of the range, top of the range. You ended up breaking out on this candlestick right there. You ended up having price gap up. And you actually flip this next resistance that we're watching, this next supply zone. It then turned into a demand zone. We can come down to the 15-minute chart. Price actually formed a bull flag bouncing off of this. You had a triple bottom off of that. You did end up having a decent run after that, $2, and you almost made it to the next resistance level up at 194.50, and the following resistance level after that is broken is going to be 198.40. I'm going to point out on the weekly time frame, SPY QQQ have bearish divergences on their weekly RSI, whereas IWM is not even close to oversold or overbought here on the weekly RSI. So, you know, if something's going to go on a rip, it's going to be DIA and it's going to be IWM in comparison to over here on SPY and QQQ. That is just something I will point out. I'm not saying these things can't keep ripping higher. Like I pointed out throughout this video, we are in an aggressive uptrend until that changes, which I believe I pointed out what would change that, which is just a break underneath the low of this candlestick at 363.41, and over here on SPY to switch the trend, or at least start the trend switch process, right? The trend change process, should have said. To start that, you have to break underneath 437.06. Until that happens, we have to assume the uptrend is going to continue. That's just how we will play things. All right, but IWM, where could we be coming down to? We could be coming down to fill that gap at 190.08, and then after that, we could come back and backtest the top of that range all the way up at 188.30 to 189.30. So that is something I will be paying attention to. And just like on SPY and QQQ, I am open to treating this as a buying opportunity down there. You have a pretty clear, well-defined risk level. If you get a daily close underneath the top of this zone right here, then hey, all right, it's not going to be looking the best. But if you don't do that, then hey, you're not looking too shabby. And I will point out, IWM has not really had any sort of these pullbacks like SPY and QQ has. All right, it's been, well, it did, all right, but I'm just gonna, it ripped faces. Do you guys see what happened here? This thing ripped absolute faces, up 7%. Was SPY up 7%? I don't think so. 3%. QQQ. All right, QQ, you know, it was up there, right? Aggressive uptrend territory right there, right? But what I'm pointing out is IWM has a lot of room to catch up here. On the weekly time frame, it shows, you know, on the RSI, you have a lot of room to go there. And honestly, this thing has not really broken out of this massive weekly range. And that's actually something, once we do get up to, if we get up to 198.40, that is something we could be paying attention to, which would be the top of this weekly range up at, where's the top? Oh, you know, the top is at 198.40, and the absolute top of it is going to be 202. So if you do break above 202, then we're going to be paying attention to up here at 212, which we can actually bring that down, and we can put it right there, right? We'd be looking at just about 2.8 after that. That would be a $6 move. And yeah, I will close out the video with that. With that being said, I will catch you all in the next one. Feel free to check out the links below. If you aren't opposed to leaving a like on this video, if you are finding value in the content, or even if I'm just making you smile, if you like the content, you know, if you're not opposed to leaving a like, feel free to leave a like. Check out the links below. And with that being said, everyone have a lovely rest of your weekend, and I will catch you on Monday. Peace. Hey, it's me again. I completely forgot to throw in the last time NASDAQ had a special rebalancing event, which was back here in May of 2011. I could not find a specific date, so we are taking a look at the whole month of May here, because that is all I can find on Google. So this is the start of May. This is the end of May. You had a total of a 4% decline over here. We could see something pretty similar to this. I personally don't think it's going to be that drastic of a move that we see to the downside here because of this. I think it's going to be a nothing burger, is my personal opinion. The weightings of these top stocks are going from something around 40% down to, I believe it's 34%. It is not too big of a difference. I don't think much is going to be changing, but it can. All right, I could be wrong about that. But yeah, just thought we'd throw this one in there. And now I will catch you. Peace.